Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Tanner here and welcome to a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video we are going to be discussing how to bring Garmadon back to the overall Ninjago story, where he could be in the modern timeline and why fans want to see him back so badly. So Garmadon, just a quick recap, was brought back by Harumi during season 8 of Ninjago, of course in his most evil form. The good parts of Garmadon's soul were kind of left behind in order to bring back this mostly evil version of Garmadon that really didn't care about humanity, his family, or pretty much anything else. He only cared about destruction and causing chaos and ruling Ninjago, which makes sense, kind of the classic villain motif, if you will. Garmadon at the end of March of the Oni kind of decided to go off on his own though, after all of the events that happened during seasons 8 and 9. He eventually teamed up with the ninja during season 10, March of the Oni, like I said, and at the very end he decided to go away, going off to parts unknown. This of course we already knew, but I figured I would just give you guys a quick catch up just in case some of you guys needed that refresher. So in terms of where Garmadon is now, we don't really have an explicit example. Garmadon has been mentioned a couple of times throughout Ninjago after March of the Oni. He was mentioned during season 11 a couple of times, and he was also mentioned during season 13, in a couple of conversations mainly provided by Lloyd. So it's not like he was ever explicitly seen again though. We did see Garmadon's reflection during one of the moments in season 11 where Lloyd's biggest fear is becoming his father, so that was kind of cool, but the point still stands. We've never explicitly seen Garmadon after March of the Oni, so where exactly did he go? Many people have theorized that maybe Garmadon just left the realm. He kind of bounced from Ninjago and left for a different realm, never to be seen again. I'm not sure if that's entirely the case. I feel like Garmadon would still stay within Ninjago's boundaries, but I feel like he's personally in some type of self-exile. During March of the Oni, Garmadon was going through a very big crisis, at least in terms of his own identity. He wasn't super sure who he was or what his intentions were. Even characters like the Omega sensed doubt within him, meaning that Garmadon was kind of doubting his own characterization and thought that he could do more. This is obviously a big sign that Garmadon's humanity was coming back to him, and I feel like he finally felt that and found that towards the end of March of the Oni, but he still needed to work on himself. Because his humanity was just coming back a little bit, I feel like he decided to go out into exile and decided to work on himself a little bit more. I could totally see this happening. I could totally see Garmadon going out in the middle of nowhere. My personal favorite location would be Hiroshi's Labyrinth. It kind of provides a nice parallel to season 3 of Ninjago, where Lloyd and Garmadon were kind of doing their thing out there and trying to evade the Overlord and his army. So I feel like Garmadon might have went there or some other place throughout Ninjago, just trying to figure out who he is. Now there are a couple of ways that you could bring Garmadon back into the series. That is what this video is about after all. So how would I personally do it? I feel like if I were to bring Garmadon back in some way, what I would do is I would have him come back as a sensei. You could kind of do that again though. You can kind of do the Master Garmadon thing, but you can do it a little differently. I feel like a lot of people are expecting Garmadon to turn human again. I don't think that should be the case. I feel like if Garmadon comes back, he should totally be in his resurrected four-armed evil form that we saw come back during season 8, but he could totally still have that form, but his mentality could be a little different. I feel like if he recognizes that some of his humanity has been returned to himself, I feel like this is a good opportunity for him to kind of merge those two identities. Merge the Sensei Garmadon with the evil Lord Garmadon. You could totally do that. We've seen that done in other shows before as well, where two forms of a certain character come together and just become one. We've seen fusions like that happen before, kind of like two identities rolled into one name. That's kind of what I want to see happen here. I would love to see Garmadon come back and become like a sensei type figure to the ninja. I'm not sure in what scenario that would actually happen. Again, the ninjas still have Master Wu, so it's not like they're without a master. So could Garmadon always be brought back as a sensei? For sure, but I don't think that's the most likely option. But I do like that idea. Once again, imagine the evil Garmadon, the four-armed form of himself, actually becoming a sensei and helping out the ninja in that regard. He could still have the Sensei Garmadon personality, but I feel like he should totally keep the physical form of actual Lord Garmadon, if that makes sense. Like I said, it's not like Master Wu is going anywhere, so what would be the point here? I honestly couldn't tell you. I feel like a lot of people want to see Garmadon back, but that kind of leads into the actual real reason why Garmadon hasn't returned, and that's just because the series doesn't need him. There are several other villains that don't return throughout Ninjago that a lot of fans want to see come back, such as the Time Twins, Pythor, Nauticon, just to name a few. Garmadon is one of those characters. Garmadon is kind of in the same boat as those couple of characters that I just mentioned, where they still exist during the modern Ninjago timeline, storyline, they're still around, but they're not there. They're not there in the series because the series doesn't need them. They're still there and they can always come back if the series wants them back, but Ninjago right now is trying new things. According to various Ninjago showrunners, such as of course Tommy Andreasen, the show is trying its best to kind of move away from older concepts and adopt newer ideas and fresh things. We know that there are a couple of new writers coming on board as well to the series that'll probably change things up a little bit, so I think it's safe to say that the Ninjago staff wants to kind of move away from older ideas and instead come up with something brand new. Because of that, characters like Pythor and Nauticon and even Garmadon probably won't come back because they don't need to. We have new characters, we have new villains. Now, some people might not like the newer villains, but that doesn't really mean that they don't have a role. You don't need Garmadon to fill up the role if you can just make a new villain such as the Skull Sorcerer. The series doesn't really need him. However, I think it's safe to say that myself and a lot of other Ninjago fans want some type of answer. Additionally, I think it's also worth pointing out that there was indeed an original ending planned for Garmadon during March of the Oni. According to Tommy Andreasen, of course one of the original creators of Ninjago, he says that there was an additional ending that was conceptualized where Garmadon would have taken the 4 golden weapons of Spinjitzu after being reforged by Kai and using them to create a new realm, kind of riding off on the back of Firstborn, which is kind of an interesting thing to propose and think about. Honestly, I'm not sure if I enjoy that ending all that much. I mean, it would explain where Garmadon was, obviously. Garmadon just went to a new realm that he had created using the 4 weapons of Spinjitzu, which in a way is kind of poetic. He's using the same weapons that his father once used to create Ninjago. It's kind of a good way for him to, I guess, go off into the sunset and, conclude his story. But because that didn't happen, that still leaves the door open for Garmadon to return, and it still doesn't answer the question. Of course, we kind of talked about earlier how Garmadon might have created a new realm somehow, or additionally went to a different realm and did something in there, or just left Ninjago, but that's not really explicitly stated. If this original ending for March of the Oni was actually implemented into the show, then there you go, we would have the answer. We wouldn't even be making this video, but that didn't happen, that wasn't finalized. In the finalized version of March of the Oni, Garmadon just kind of walked away, leaving for parts unknown. Again, if you wanted my answer as to where Garmadon is, I feel like he's in self-exile somewhere, and he'll probably return at the very right time. He's not going to come back randomly, he's going to come back when he's needed. I feel like Garmadon is still kind of an independent character that doesn't really need the ninja to be whole. He's just doing his own thing, and I feel like we can respect that. I feel like we can also respect the wishes of the creators of the show not to, bring back older characters or, focus on older storylines and concepts. I feel like providing new things to the Ninjago story is indeed important. So I'm very much counting on the story to provide a lot of new things and not tread on old concepts that lightly. We kind of did that already for the 10th anniversary. I really don't think we need to do that here. In terms of what else Garmadon could be up to if he's not going to come back as like a sensei Garmadon, I feel like some folks are kind of suggesting that perhaps Garmadon could indeed be the Vengestone buyer. Maybe he's trying to enact some type of revenge on the ninja. But to me, Garmadon really doesn't feel like he should be in that villainous role. Like I said, Garmadon at the end of March of the Oni kind of understood his humanity and understood that he wasn't this evil warlord that he was told that he was. And I feel like it would be a really big waste of character development if you brought back Garmadon as a bad guy. We kind of already did that already, and it really didn't work out in Garmadon's favor. He inevitably turned back to being a good guy because that's who Garmadon is deep down. He's not an evil warlord, he's a good guy. So I'm not really sure why people are saying that Garmadon is the Vengestone buyer. If that does happen, I feel like that'd be a very weird thing to introduce into the series and incorporate into Garmadon's character. Really wouldn't make much sense to me. Again, I'm not one of the people that think that Garmadon is dead or anything like that. I feel like Garmadon is still very much alive within the series, but I don't think he needs to, come back anytime soon. I feel like he didn't hop realms either. I don't think he kind of dipped from Ninjago and went to like the first realm or whatever. I feel like he's still in Ninjago to some capacity because that's honestly what I think he would do. I feel like he would explore Ninjago, kind of find himself a little bit more, like I said, either hold up in Hiroshi's Labyrinth or some other place and ultimately decide what he wants to be as a character, as a father, as a teacher, as a leader, as a sensei. You get what I'm saying. So yeah, to wrap things up here, in terms of whether or not Garmadon should come back, I feel like he should at some point, or at least we should get some type of solid answer, but that could always come in the form of like a tweet or a statement put out by some of the Ninjago creators. I don't think that Garmadon himself will make an appearance anytime soon, but I feel like there are ways to bring him back if you would like to. There's definitely options there, the door is open, but Garmadon as a character has kind of filled his purpose, and we can kind of now focus on new characters, new ideas, new concepts. I feel like at this point in time, Ninjago is kind of acknowledging that those past things existed, but now they're ready to move on to something bigger and better. So that's basically going to do it for my thoughts as to where Garmadon is or how you could bring Garmadon back. Garmadon is one of my favorite characters. Again, I would love to see him come back, but ultimately, like I said in this video, I don't think he's going to. I gave a couple of theories and predictions regarding where Garmadon could be or what he could be doing and how I would like to see him come back, so let me know down below in the comments what you think about this. How do you want Garmadon to come back? How do you think Garmadon should return, or do you think he should return at all? Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description for my other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for watching this video once again. My name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.